there. It's Tom and Tom podcasting from alternate locations this time, both of us. And today's topic is about customer service. But I don't really want to start by talking about customer service because everybody talks about customer service. I want to talk first about employee service because the funny thing is that I don't think you can have really stellar customer service until you take care of your employees first. And we've seen this over and over again, haven't we, Tom?
Yep.
And so what happens is when you are in an organization where people feel empowered and they feel a reduced concern about repercussions for risky actions, then they are more free to be flexible and adaptable in various situations. And let's be honest, good customer service is almost meaningless when things go well. Customer service matters most when things have gone badly. And the reason things have gone badly is myriad, but very often it's when something has run afoul of the rules. And that means that the employee that is trying to take care of that customer has to deal with a broken rule. And they can admonish the customer for having broken the rule, or they can figure out how to take care of the customer despite the rule. And that's risky. And in organizations that are command and control, fear-based, where frontline employees have limited power, they don't care about what happens to the customer. They're going to take care of themselves. They're going to cover their own butts. And we have seen this before, haven't we, Tom?
And so it's culture all the way down again.
All the way down to the ground level.
And if your employees have the freedom to fix a problem, and you hear certain customer service stories of high-level brands where employees have a massive amount of freedom to fix the problem.
Yes.
Like they can spend thousands of dollars in occasions to fix problems because without permission, without approval, I guess that's not true. They've been given permission and approval in advance.
Yes. And I would say
the culture gives them permission to solve the problem.
Exactly. And in the case of, for example, I think you've sort of hinted at it there, but the Ritz-Carlton, I think, is famous for, and they may have changed it now, but at one point in time, they gave each and every employee a $500 budget to solve a guest's problem, whatever it was. If a guest comes to an employee, any employee with a problem, that employee was empowered to spend up to $500 without asking anyone on their own recognizance to use their imagination to figure out how to solve that guest's problem.
My favorite customer service story, which it's actually a friend of mine. We're in Ann Arbor, and Ann Arbor has a restaurant called Zingerman's Delicatessen, and they spun off a series of one-off businesses supporting each other. And one was a catalog, a mail order catalog. My friend moved out of town, but loved buying food and gifts from the Zingerman's mail order catalog. So she was calling in once when she was down in North Carolina, and she's like, "Oh, you know what? Do you have that Michigan, like, I forget what it is, it's like Smucker's fudge?" Because they would carry other products, not just products they made.
Right.
And the person is like, she knew she was getting a gift basket together, and she loved Zingerman's, now lived out of state. She's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, that's not on our list. That's not something we stock." And then she said, but you know what? I drive by a store that I'm pretty sure stocks it. I will pick it up on my way in and add it into your order. That's just like this weird, obscene degree of customer service.
Right. And Zingerman's is a great example of an organization that has a tremendous employee culture, and there we you'll hear us talk about them all the time because they're a shining example locally here where we live, that of just tremendous empowerment of each and every employee. It's something they expect.
Yeah. And just to be clear, in any customer service company, your mileage may vary,
Oh,
but
sure. I mean, things can go
because it's
wrong.
it's a function of any given person you're interacting with. But
Right.
I just thought that was one of the weirdest and best customer service stories because it was so outside the norm of what you'd expect.
Yeah.
If I were that employee, I don't think I would ever do that.
Right. Even in bad companies, good people, good
Yeah.
employees will often attempt to overcome the limitations that have been placed on them. In fact, I have an interesting story about that. Years ago, I worked for a little startup. I guess it wasn't really a startup. It was just a small company. They'd been around for a while, but they never grew, and that was largely because their leader was a pathological narcissist who drove employees away on a regular basis, and while they were there, made their lives miserable.
A
Um,
little thing.
but I always had an entrepreneurial spirit, and so I just put up with it, and I took care of my employees as if they were or my customers as if they were my customers and not his. And so when they asked for something, I figured out how to get it for them. Well, I had one customer, a very good sized one. I won't name names, but they were a company that you would recognize if you've been around the Detroit area long enough. And they bought all their computers from me. I was selling computers at the time, and they would buy servers, and sometimes those servers would come with a color video card. This is back when things weren't all integrated onto the motherboard like they are now. And since he was using them as servers, he didn't want to buy color monitors, which were very expensive at the time, for a server, which was the operating system for it was in black and white anyway. So
Mhm.
we would buy monochrome monitors and have us put a cheap monochrome video card in there, which they paid for, and we would pull out the color video card. And my boss, being the guy he was, just put those cards in inventory, even though the customer had paid for them. And they didn't mind. They didn't need the cards. They didn't want the cards. So they actually didn't ever question us for not just delivering those cards to them when they bought the server. Well, one day, my contact at the company said, "Hey, Tom, I'm putting together a computer, and I need a color video card. Can I get one of those cards that you've pulled out of our servers to put in this computer?" And I said, "Absolutely, for sure. They're your cards." And I went back to the office, and my boss said they're going to have to buy it. And I said, "They already did buy it. Give me the card." And he wouldn't do it. So I bought the card. I paid 60
Yeah.
bucks for a video card out of my own pocket to give to the customer, because I couldn't go back to them and say, "I know they're your cards, but you can't have them." I just couldn't do that. Like, I mean, somebody might have,
Yeah.
and you can just imagine what kind of damage that does to the relationship with a customer when you do that.
Nicely done. The good behavior all the way around. And that's coming from your own personal integrity, unfortunately, not the culture of the company.
That's my point exactly. You can have good experiences at a bad company, but all you have to do is go online and look at their reviews, and you'll be able to tell pretty quickly when, and very often, when you read reviews of a company and you see a lot of bad reviews of things that they did horribly to customers, and then you'll read a nice one, they'll name the person by name. Well, be like, Mary took really good care of me. It's like, the company didn't take care of me. Mary took care of me.
And of course, in this modern age, people are going to be 10 times more likely to post a negative review than a positive review, right? Whatever, there's some number that's literally measured, but it's like almost 10 times.
Yeah, a lot of ones and fives. I mean, I think you're right that people are more apt to post a negative review, but they're also as apt to write a review when it's really positive.
Yeah.
Like when they really feel like they owe it to them to say something about how great their experience was.
When we get to, and I can't help in these conversations about culture, especially this year, as you and I are both playing on frontier edge AIs in some of our side projects. And we see how good they're getting. And we're like, what remains is the human connection.
Right.
What remains the human experience. What remains the human who remembers you when you come in and engages you. And there's one particular coffee place in town when I'm here in Golders Green, London, that I like to go into because
Wait, we did
one of
that
the ladies
video.
behind the counters remembers me, remembers Owen, remembers my daughter, right? And you'll get a kick out of the name of the place that does the best job.
Yeah.
It's Starbucks. And I had a friend who worked there for 15 years in Florida. And it was very much, when my friend worked there, a cultural value in Starbucks that you learn the names of the regular customers.
Interesting. Part of the training manual, huh?
Part of the training manual, part of what makes us special, part of what makes it, delightful to come in is that they remember your names, they remember your order, or your most common order type.
Yeah.
And it becomes your place because real humans there remember you, happy to see you, and are delighted to pour a cup of coffee.
Yeah, that's so good. Yeah.
Some of these places that do exceptionally well, that everyone likes to complain and hate on them, like Starbucks, they're doing exceptionally well in part because they made specific cultural decisions. Now, new management might unwind those. I don't know if that's even, I don't know what the case is today. We know the management's changed over, but in this store in Golders Green, it's interesting too. If you look at, I'm going to pick on Starbucks for a moment. Starbucks made a decision in general. American culture is so built around drive-throughs and buying your car that they've sacrificed in most of their stores the inner sit-down experience to expedite drive-through.
Hmm.
And they've done that over about 5 or 10 years. I know this. You don't probably ever get a Starbucks coffee, but I eat at McDonald's and I drink at Starbucks, so I can talk about things that Tom here cannot talk about.
But I was going to call you out for talking about Starbucks, or talking about coffee twice in somewhat of a row.
The coffee man, that's my passion.
Every IT guy's passion.
Where the coffee isn't great. What's great is the room you can sit in and that they remember your name.
Yeah, I think Starbucks was the first coffee shop I ever saw that had couches and little table lamps and stuff to make it feel homey, like that you might want to actually hang out there.
In the US, they realize that in that particular chain, that sales have dropped off on people who want to sit in, and people complain about that aspect of the experience, and they're now rethinking aspects of their strategy. The company's done really well. They've marketed and merchandised in so many ways. But they realized one of the things that they originally helped to define, which was the experience of coming in and getting a cup of coffee, they've ruined in most of their locations.
Well, time marches on, I guess, which is probably a good cue for us to wrap this little podcast up and just reiterate that your culture that you build inside your company, that your employees experience every day, your customers experience it too.
Yeah.
It's not just for you. It's not just for your employees. Everybody sees it. And so making it right and making your employees have the power to take care of customers, even if your customers are more removed than like in a retail operation, it doesn't matter. It makes a difference.
Yeah.
Whether it's
and it ties into our fundamental principle of alignment.
Yeah.
Right, senior management's in alignment with the junior management's in alignment with employees, in alignment with customers, all the way down.
Yes. Yes, customers all the way down. That's a good way of putting it. And on that note, I would like to remind you that if you enjoyed this video, click us a like, maybe drop us a comment if you have some thoughts to share. But most importantly, let's not forget to click that little subscribe button right down there, and that'll let you get in on some of the videos we have coming up. They're always going to be fun and interesting, we hope. And
they're always at least real. We're actually talking about things we interact with every day.
That's right. We're not making this crap up for sure. And if you would like our help, we would be happy to talk with you and see what we can do. Our website is beintentional.biz, and there's a contact form there for you to reach out to us. And until next time, this is Tom.
And Tom.
Thanks for listening. Talk soon.
Bye.